Basically, it's a private membership food club. What does it mean for the people and for the government?
Well, I organize it as a private membership because government has jurisdiction over commerce. And as long as what we're doing is not an illegal activity, we have the right of association. It's like the Jewish people, they get to do their kosher diet. And let's say the kosher diet isn't for everybody, but the government doesn't get involved and tell them, no, that's not healthy to do. And you've got cultures like the Italians that have their carpaccio, the French and Germans that have their steak tartare. And you don't go around, and the Japanese with their raw fish, you know, their sushi and sashimi, they don't go around telling them, they try sometimes, they've tried it, but the law's been reversed when they've done it, when they've executed that. But they don't tell them how to eat it, what their cuisine should be. So it is a private members of association right to do what they want to do as long as it's not hurting the public. So, and of course they've made false statements, you know, how the government tries to incite panic and fear, and they've said that raw milk can cause illness to other people, but there's no such thing as that. Raw milk doesn't cause illness in the first place. Every case that's been attributed to raw milk has been from survey, not science. You know, so somebody gets sick. If it's a certain kind of illness, then the doctor or the hospital calls the health department and said, we have a case of this illness. So then that goes into the records, and then eventually, usually 6 weeks, sometimes 3 months down the line, an employee, a clerk, or a secretary, whatever it is, may call or will call the people who got sick and say, what did you eat? They like to remember, 6 to 3 months later. And they say, well, what do you eat? And if you say raw milk, they automatically attribute it to that. There's no science behind that. There are a few cases where they've tried to manipulate the information and say, oh, we've got the same blueprint. You know, a blueprint in bacteria isn't the same blueprint as a human. It isn't an identical thing for an individual. A blueprint just tells you what strain of bacteria. And we have that strain of bacteria exists in many, many, many things. It doesn't tell you specifically that this bacteria is not only the same strain, but is the same one that was in that. So they really stretch it. But they get people to believe it, and they get judges to believe them and everything. And there's not many people who know enough. Even doctors, they're not educated enough biochemically. So they get in there and they make misstatements. Watch out for me, because I know biochemistry. So when I get into that courtroom, they're going to be shaken up. And also I have a biological attorney that knows it too, Raymond Novell. So watch out for us, government, because we're coming after you.
Now, during this last week raid, the police, FDA, all the agents, they took not just the milk, but everything. And on Thursday on court, you told me they were taking things that they were not supposed to take.
Well, they weren't supposed to take anything except little samples. That's all they had the right to take. That's all that it said in the warrant. So they violated a lot of rights. They stole, they didn't seize it. If you've got a bad warrant, and the warrant is based on improper information, and it was, because I sent them a letter in May of 2005 telling them our structure, telling them that they had no jurisdiction, telling that we were a private club and we eat a certain way. I gave them everything they needed to know about the specifics. We like bacteria, we like all of that in our food, specifically. So they knew. So them using that warrant was a terrific violation.